Hello and welcome to another Path of Exile 2 video. So today I want to show you how you can properly price your items and then also how you can use the trade site to find the best bang for your buck. So first of all, if I want to appraise, for example, this wand, I always use an application like Sidekick. I'll be putting that in the video description. And these applications, they will allow you to press something like Control D, and then it will copy all of the stats of your item, which you can then select and then search for similar items on the trade site. So that's obviously very useful because it's way quicker than putting all of these stats into the trade site manually. So I highly recommend that. And in addition, you can also, I don't know if every other application has that, but Sidekick definitely has this. You can then also normalize item values. So what that means is that, for example, if I have this wand and I turn this off, I turn this to 0, then it will only search for items. If I, for example, select these 3 most important modifiers for wands, level of spell skills, cast speed, and spell damage, then it will only search for items that have exactly the same stats or have higher stats than my wand. So that will give me a result like I would price this item at like 20 divines, my wand. But realistically, that's nothing that anyone is gonna pay for this wand, because as you can see, there's one guy, he wants 35 divines and he still hasn't sold in 4 days. So you want to go into your settings and really put this at least like 5%. And then if you put in the stats, you will get a result that is way more fitting of your item's value. I also like to put in something like 10%, because realistically, if your item is only 10% better than another item, the price difference is not going to be 10 divines. Maybe you'll find someone that's willing to pay that for that difference, but if your item is not mirrored here, that is highly unrealistic, and your item will be sitting around in your stash, and it will not sell even until your item becomes worthless, because the market is then oversaturated, like at the end of season or in standard. So you really want to normalize your item values, and I do this like that. And I also, what's quite important is that if I have some modifier like level to all chaos spell skills, then I actually don't normalize it, because as you probably know, 1 more level to your skill is way more valuable than any other item difference. Like, for example, 10% increased spell damage. It doesn't do nearly as much as 1 more level to your spell skills. So with these very, very important modifiers, that's most likely only going to be level of all skills, be it like melee skills, projectile spell skills, whatever. You wanna put in the extra value that your item has. So for that, I always put in 5, and that's quite important. And then I press on search, and then as you can see, I can find a wand that's very, very similar to mine. That's only like 10% worse, maybe, for 5 divines. So I wouldn't price my wand at like 30 divines or 20 divines, as the first result might have suggested, but I would instead price it as at a maximum of something like maybe 7, maybe 9 divines, because as you can see, this is the result that we previously got, and this is now the one that is slightly worse. So I would price it at around the middle of these two, so maybe even 15 divines. So it's actually more valuable than I thought. But yeah, you can do it like that. And what's also quite cool in Sidekick, if you have then selected these modifiers, so for example, if you want to then buy this item that you have just found, you can press on this button right here. Then it will open your trade site in your browser, and then you will actually if you close Sidekick, it automatically closes the browser, but it's still open in the background. So just open that again, then it automatically puts in all the values in the trade side for you, and then you can press on direct whisper and you can buy this item if you then want to buy it. So yeah, let's get to the trading side part. So the first important step when you visit this site is gonna be to select the proper league. So for example, I'm gonna be in the Dawn of the Hunt league right now. If there's a new league, it's gonna say something different here, and if you're in standard, you want to select standard here. But I'm in Dawn of the Hunt, so I'll select Dawn of the Hunt, and then you can open the filters tab. I'm not gonna go into too much detail what this left side means, because all of these things, they are relatively self-explanatory. For example, what kind of item category you're searching for. If you're searching for weapons, if you're searching for armor, yeah, you can select that here, or what kind of item rarity you're searching for. If you're only searching for rare items or unique items, you can select all of that here. You just need to read through this, and it's gonna explain itself to you. Yeah, but two different things that you want to know about this left side of the trading tab is that you can select how long ago offers were made here. So for example, if there was a guy that has put up an offer for 2 months and he wasn't selling, it's unlikely that he's going to sell to you now. So sometimes it's useful to put this to something like up to a day ago or up to 3 days ago. So the people that you see are actually selling, and they're not doing something like price fixing. If you don't know what that is putting prices at a very low price, so other people think that that price is that low. So these people then offer these items for that low. Yeah, which is very scummy, but it hasn't been patched yet, so people still do that. Yeah, and the other thing that you want to be able to select here is the Exalted Orb equivalent. I say this, it seems relatively self-explanatory, but it isn't, because if you put in a value like this, 165, which at the current market rate would equivalent to 1 divine, and you would press search and filter for the highest offers, it wouldn't show you results that are actually listed for 1 divine, right? Even though you've selected that amount. So you're gonna have to figure out what the current value is inside the trade site for example, 1 divine to Exalted Orbs, because the trade site always thinks something different than it is shown inside the game. So even if you can trade 1 divine for 164 Exalted right now, the trade site probably doesn't think the same. So yeah, if you want to kind of like figure out what the value for 1 divine is each day. So let's see if we can see any offers for 1 divine. I don't think so. Yeah, you just need to figure out what the value is here. So it's gonna be kind of difficult to actually measure this. Yeah, because there are so many offers right now. I recommend, if you're really searching for an item and you only have a limited budget, that you simply put in the modifiers that you have, and that you just lower the modifiers if the prices are too high, because this is not a good way to search for your budget. So yeah, let's get to the right side and let's discuss how this works. So first of all, you're gonna be selecting what kind of stat group you are searching for, and there are 5 different things or 6 different things that you can select here, and that would be first of all and its opposite, not, and is gonna be so for example, if I put in life here and mana here, it's gonna be searching for items that have these 2 stats, and it's gonna filter all items that don't have these 2 stats. And if I put in not, it's gonna filter out all items that have these stats. Yeah, so that's fairly easy, but if we continue and we want to put in an if, it's going to be more complicated, because in the explanation it says match items that meet each stat's minimum and maximum requirements in the stat if the stat is present. So yeah, what the hell does this mean? I'm gonna explain it to you. If you, for example, put in something like maximum mana and set it to 10, it's gonna filter all items that have something lower than 10 maximum mana. But if they have 10 mana, 10 to maximum mana or more, it's not gonna filter them out. So yeah, I hope that makes sense for you. If it doesn't, you'll probably figure this out for yourself. If you've used this a couple of times, it was what was kind of hard for me too. But it's not really that important. Don't use it that often. Yeah, so let's do the next one. This one is gonna be easier to understand, because it's just gonna, for example, if I put in 5 different stats here, let's put in the first 5 ones, and I put the minimum to 10 on all of these stats, and I put in 3 here, then it's gonna only give me items that have at least 3 of the stats that I have listed here at the values that I have set here in their modifiers. So if an item has maximum mana, maximum life, and cold resistance, it's gonna be listed. If an item has maximum life, cold resistance, and fire, it's gonna be listed, and so on and so on. Yeah, so that is sometimes useful, but the most useful is gonna be weighted sum. And the weighted sums, they are not really that different. I just recommend you to use the first weighted sum. I'm gonna explain to you why real quick. Because if you select, let's say, the 5 first modifiers here, and you put in, okay, so what this does, it filters, it counts the sum of all of these items, and it's gonna filter you the items that have the most of this sum, or the minimum of the sum that you put in here. So if, for example, I want a ton of cold resistance on my item, I'm gonna put this to 10. If I want a ton of fire resistance, I would put this to 10 and 10. And if I want, if my life is not as important as the resistances, I'm gonna put it to 1. And if mana is not as important as the resistances, I'm also gonna put it to 1. So if I then search, it's gonna make a sum of all of these modifiers, and it's gonna weigh these stats differently. But we also need to press on sum right here. So it's gonna filter for the highest sum. Yeah, and then we get an item, for example, like this, that has a lot of these 3 resistances, but that that has a lot of these different resistances, but doesn't have as much maximum life or mana, but still has some, because we have still valued it at some weight. So I want you to use this weighted sum, because the other weighted sum, it kind of works a bit differently, but not really, because this one, it's gonna automatically, in addition to the weights that you're gonna put here, it's gonna automatically weigh the different stats for their values according to their tier. But that is not really practical, because it's obvious that higher tiers are more rare and are more valuable, but you're not trying to get the most valuable items, you're trying to get the best items for yourself. So you just use the normal weighted sum. So yeah, in addition to how you can set the stat groups here, and like you can select what stat group you want to put in here, you can also make another stat group. So for example, if I didn't want all of these modifiers, I put in not for all of these, and if I want these modifiers, I'm gonna be putting in and here. So yeah, if you have any questions about the trade site, any stuff that you haven't understood, you are welcome to comment. Yeah, but that's that. If you didn't understand anything of the things that I've just mentioned, then you should probably backtrack and try to understand that, because we're gonna do some more complicated stuff now, and it's gonna be considering the modifiers in here. So, for example, if you search for pseudo, we're gonna get a lot of special modifiers, right? It's gonna be something like how many prefix modifiers or how many suffix modifiers an item has. And prefix modifiers is something that rolls differently to suffix modifiers. So if you, for example, go on POE2 DB, where we can see all the mods, I'm gonna be going there real quick. We can see that, for example, if we press on boots, there's gonna be these prefix modifiers and these suffix modifiers. And if we want our item to be missing some of these prefix modifiers, so we can assign them ourselves, or to be missing some of these suffix modifiers to assign them ourselves, then we can search for, let's do it for example with the wands that we were just searching to get some results. I need to put this all to 0, but if we want to get some items that have these modifiers missing, so we can assign them, we want to put something in like empty prefix modifiers or empty suffix modifiers. You can only find these if you type in pseudo. So yeah, then we're going to get results for items that have, for example, missing prefix modifiers or missing suffix modifiers. So yeah, that's very, very useful for crafting your own items. So you got to keep that in mind. And also there's obviously going to be a lot of other cool stats that you can select at pseudo. So for example, that it has enchant modifiers, or that it has fractured modifiers, but you will only see these if you type in pseudo. So keep that in mind. Yeah, and I think that's about it. If you have any more questions, as I said, you can go into the comments and you can ask me, or you can PM me via Discord. I'm going to be putting my Discord in the video description too. If you want to visit these two sites, or if you want to download Sidekick, as mentioned, I'm going to be putting all of that also in the video description. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.